My name's Harold Flower. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I just wanted to do a brief review of Shibumi by Trevanian, a thriller novel published in 1979. I read it last year, so it's been a while, but I do remember my impression of it fairly well. I'm going to say right up front that I had mixed feelings about it, and I'll explain why. So, I actually read the book because it makes an appearance in John Wick, which I saw for the first time last year. A security guard is shown reading it at one point. I had known about Shibumi for a long time before that. I remember seeing it in Barnes & Noble. The cover caught my eye, but John Wick is what caused me to finally read it. I'll read the blurb of my edition, because I think it's a well-written blurb. Shibumi, the code of the perfect assassin, the secret of the perfect lover. Nikolai Hell, born in the ravages of World War I China to an aristocratic Russian mother and a mysterious German father, raised in the spiritual gardens of a Japanese Go master, he survives the destruction of Hiroshima to emerge as the world's most artful lover and its most accomplished and highly paid assassin. Genius, mystic, master of language and culture. Hell's secret is his determination to attain a rare kind of personal excellence, a state of effortless perfection. Shibumi, now living in an isolated mountain fortress with his magnificent Eurasian mistress, Hell faces his most sinister enemy, a super monolith of espionage and monopoly. The battle lines are drawn. Ruthless power and corruption on one side, and on the other, Shibumi. To be honest, I don't remember the details of the plot that well, but this is one of those books where the plot is kind of besides the point. But if I recall correctly, it starts off with an attack in an airport against some Israeli operatives who are on their way to prevent a hijacking of a plane by Palestinian terrorists. An American girl who's with them manages to escape and seeks out the assistance of a friend of her father, Nikolai Hell, an expert assassin. Hell has to contend with some agents of the mother company, a shadowy organization that controls the world's energy corporations, one of whom has a personal vendetta against him. So I think the setup is great, but the book didn't really do what I wanted it to do. I was hoping it would be about Nikolai Hell traveling around the world and assassinating people, but it's more of a character-driven book. It's primarily about Hell's coming of age. He's of European descent, but raised in Japan by a Go master. There's also a lot of criticism of American culture, mainly what Trevanian calls its mercantile aspect. Training and inclination had combined to make Nikolai respect and feel affection for all members of the real classes: farmers, artisans, artists, warriors, scholars, priests, but he could feel nothing but disdain for the artificial class of the merchant, who sucks up his living through buying and selling things he does not create, who collects power and wealth out of proportion to his discrimination, and who is responsible for all that is kitsch, for all that is change without progress, for all that is consumption without use. And at one point, the main villain is likened to an American cowboy and Nikolai Hell to a Yojimbo. But I think when this book was published, American readers were okay with hearing these sorts of things. Watergate and Vietnam were pretty recent, and the oil crisis had caused people to cut spending. Also, there's a heavy focus on spelunking. Seriously, about 50 pages in the middle are about a spelunking trip. I'm guessing that was one of Trevanian's hobbies, and he just wanted to write about it, but I wasn't that interested in reading about it. I found out from reading some reviews of the book on Amazon that it has an element of parody, which I'll admit I didn't pick up on while reading it, but I can definitely see it in retrospect. I mean, Nikolai Hell has the power to sense people he can't see. He's trained in a martial art called Naked Kill, which allows him to dispatch people with random objects, and he's able to reach orgasm with his mistress without physical contact. Yeah, I guess all that stuff isn't meant to be taken seriously. I'm not sure if I'd recommend this book or not. Like I said, it just didn't do what I expected it to do, and I think my expectations were fair. I will say that I like Trevanian's prose style. It's definitely a few notches above what you'd find in the average thriller. And his observations about American society are interesting. Some of them have stuck with me more than a year later. But I wanted more action, and there's just not that much of it. When it does come, it's over pretty quickly. I read a few years ago that Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick movies, was working on an adaptation of Shibumi. If that does end up being made, I think a lot of people are going to pick up the book and have the same problem with it that I did. If I had to choose between recommending it or not, one or the other, I'd honestly have to say I don't recommend it. And if I had to give it a star rating, I think I'd give it a 2 out of 5. So that's my review of Shibumi by Trevanian. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a nice day.